Stephen Smith.
My Christian appellate name is capital S.
Buckle up, everyone. Today, we're diving into a sovereign citizen courtroom showdown that has it all: misused legal jargon, bizarre arguments, and a concealed weapon citation that quickly spirals out of control. The key player? Stephen Smith, a man who refuses his own government name, but somehow still drives with a license and a concealed pistol permit. Sounds contradictory already, right? Watch closely, because the twists in this hearing will leave you questioning whether logic even entered the courtroom.
Lowercase T-E-P-E-H-E-N, capital S, lowercase M-I-T-H.
Okay, so that would be a yes. Thank you. Deputy Sims. Now calling 24W003208A, the Township of Ypsilanti versus Stephen Cameron Nigel Smith. Deputy Sims, state your name for the record.
Deputy Sims.
Thank you. Okay, and Mr. Smith, you've already stated and spelled your name out. Thank you. Today is the date and time set for an informal hearing in this matter. What I have is a citation issued November 17th, 2024, that charges that on or about that date you did operate a motor vehicle on Holmes Road at or near Ford Boulevard. And when you were pulled over, you failed to disclose to the officer that you had a concealed pistol. So it looks like you were also cited for having a window tint. I don't have that citation, which presumably means that it was paid. So again, this is a civil infraction. There is no criminal penalty associated with this, no jail time, no probation. There is, however, a fine. Before we get started, Deputy Sims, was there anything that you wanted to say?
No, ma'am, I'm ready to proceed.
Mr. Smith, as you have likely heard already, you have three basic options when it comes to this citation, and these are your three options. You can accept responsibility, that is basically admit that you did not disclose per MCL 28.425F that you had a license to carry a concealed pistol and that you did not present that immediately to the peace officer when you were pulled over. You can accept responsibility with an explanation so the court can take into consideration any mitigating factors and potentially lessen or eliminate the fine. Finally, you can deny responsibility, that is, deny that you failed to disclose your CPL immediately, at which point we will proceed to the informal hearing. I will swear in both sides, take testimony, and make a decision based on preponderance of the evidence. Which of those three options are you going with?
I want to, may I grant my name to the court as your question? I deny responsibility and I have an explanation.
Okay, so if you are denying responsibility, then I'm going to swear you in and swear in the deputy, and I will take testimony from both sides. So let me explain how this is going to work. After I have sworn you both in, I am going to take testimony from Deputy Sims first, because Deputy Sims is the officer in charge of issuing the citation. That means he's basically the plaintiff in this matter, okay? Once he has finished his testimony, which you are not to interrupt, it will be your turn to testify. He is not to interrupt you either. After I've heard the testimony from both sides, I will make a decision based on preponderance of the evidence. As I stated before, that is a 49% to 51% standard. So basically, whoever's testimony is slightly more persuasive. This is not a criminal case. It is not beyond a reasonable doubt in this situation. So, do you comprehend everything that I just said?
I do comprehend.
Thank you. Okay, raise your right hand, Deputy Sims, and Mr. Smith, you will have to tell me when it's raised if you're not turning your camera on.
It's raised.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to the best of your information, knowledge, and belief, Deputy Sims?
I do.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Deputy Sims, you may proceed with your testimony.
On 11/17/2024, about 3 a.m., my partner and I observed a black Ford Fusion. It was on Ford Boulevard. I believe it had just turned onto Ford Boulevard with tinted windows. Proceeded after the car. It turned into the gas station there on the corner, and we followed it into the gas station and proceeded towards one of the exits. Before it returned to the road, the driver, Mr. Smith, exited and began yelling at us. At that point in time, we activated our emergency lights and conducted the traffic stop there. We made contact with him, explained the reason that we had followed behind him. And when I approached the vehicle, I looked in the vehicle and I observed a firearm on the passenger seat. At no point in time during that did I hear I have a CPL until after the firearm was located. He was detained. His CPL was verified. He was issued the citation.
Mr. Smith, it is your turn.
I want to mention there's no damaged property or victim under sworn oath. Also, I believe I was being racially profiled. I had been pulled over, which I did stop, and I was let go because
And there it is, the officer's testimony. Straightforward, factual, and backed by procedure. Smith was yelling before the stop. A firearm was in plain view, and no disclosure was made until after detention. Legally, that's critical. Michigan law requires immediate disclosure of a concealed carry license. No wiggle room. No, I was going to mention it later. This testimony builds the foundation of the case against Smith. But here's the real question. Was Smith genuinely unaware of his obligation, or was he deliberately testing the limits with sovereign citizen rhetoric? What do you think, ignorance or defiance?
wasn't suspected of any crimes, just as I wasn't suspected of any crimes by him as well, as he mentioned. We had sat in the intersection, which I was in the middle of a DoorDash, and I wanted to get on my phone to see where I was at. When I looked away from my phone, I seen him, the officer, and another deputy, or whoever it may have been, an officer, also sitting in the middle intersection for about 30 seconds, maybe to even 60 seconds. So he could see me through my windshield. While I believe it was racial profiling, considering the area we were in wasn't the best area. So when I pulled, which I did use my turn signal, and it was a stop sign, or it was a light, a signal light. So when the light turned green, I turned right with my turn signal. I also turn signaled into the gas station, which I was going to stop to check my phone, because like I told the officer that had pulled me over 10 minutes before, which I'm sure he heard on the radio call, I was door dashing, which I had admitted to both of the officers. He called another officer in response to what he calls me pulling myself over. He never admitted to pulling me over. He said I pulled myself over. I got out the car to explain myself that I was door dashing and that I felt like I was being harassed because I was just previously pulled over. I did not have a firearm on person, and he didn't have a reason to suspect me of any crimes or try to search my vehicle. I was illegally searched on person without my disclosure. I told them I don't consent to any searches, and they were digging in my pockets. I have a legal license, and I'm not.
Best on.
After he said I pulled myself over, he flashed his lights, and they kind of like grabbed me up and I feel like they assaulted me in a way. And after he figured out that I did have a CPL disclosure, which he never gave me time to disclose because it was not on my person. So I didn't feel the need to because I was not present in my motor carrier for him to be in any type of danger. After he sat me in the car, which I feel like I should not have been detained that way, for about 15 minutes, they let me be on my way with a citation. And I don't believe I deserve the citation. And he doesn't have any evidence of the situation. It's just a presumption with no material.
Does that conclude your testimony?
Yes.
And did you have any evidence or witnesses that you wanted to present?
I have evidence on my phone of me asking him, what their badge numbers was, which they didn't really want to disclose. So I had to look it up on the internet. I have a dash cam, but it was not running at the time.
So before we continue, I do want to apologize because I did actually have the equipment violation citation as well. That is for the window tint. So did you wish to address the window tint specifically?
That's just how the car came. I bought it that way, straight from Ford. So it's
okay. In Michigan?
Yes.
Deputy Sims, since I don't think I specifically asked you about the tint either because I had misplaced this on my desk, do you wish to address the window tint?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sure you're aware that no vehicle that comes from the factory has front window tint on it. During his first testimony, he admitted to having window tint and said that we saw him through the windshield, which is not possible at night, but he admitted that there was tint.
May I add something?
You may.
There's they didn't test any window tint for any type of darkness issues or anything like that. It was just kind of an excuse because that wasn't the first reason that he told me that he pulled me over. It wasn't for window tint, and you can disclose that through the video of his own body cam. They said that they pulled me over because he presumed that I was trying to turn around in the parking lot or evade him, but I was door dashing like I told the officer that pulled me over before.
So, Deputy Sims, I believe when you testified a moment ago, you said you had noticed the window tint. Did you want to respond to that to me, please?
I guess, what are you asking?
You had stated that you initiated the stop, or at least you started to initiate the stop based on observing window tint. Is that correct?
So, yeah, I mean, I was with my partner. So there's also the part of he came off of Holmes Road, if I remember correctly, turned right into the parking lot, and then cut through the parking lot to go back onto Holmes Road. It didn't seem like there was any intention of him trying to stop at the store or anything like that. So he's also cutting through the parking lot.
May I add?
You may.
I did not try to cut through the parking lot, as I mentioned before, and prove to the officer before I was door dashing. And if I would have been on my phone, then he would have tried to get me for that as well. So I safely pulled over to where I could view where I was. And it was his presumption that I was trying to turn around fast.
So in regards to the B ticket, that is the equipment violation, basically having obstructed vision with window tint. At this point, the court is finding you not responsible for the window tint, Mr. Smith, because based on just the testimony today, I don't think there's enough established to confirm whether or not the window tint would have been in violation. Now, regarding the A citation, that being the failure to disclose the CPL, the court is finding you responsible in that matter. And that is, again, based on MCL 28.425F. Basically, an individual licensed under this act to carry a concealed pistol and who is carrying a concealed pistol and who is stopped by a peace officer shall immediately disclose to the peace officer that he or she is carrying a pistol concealed upon your person or in your vehicle.
May I add, please?
Well, no, because at this point I'm making my ruling, and the pistol was in the vehicle. I understand it doesn't sound like you were in the vehicle at this point, but you were engaged with the officer, and it was your responsibility as the person with the CPL to immediately disclose that you had a CPL and that there was a weapon in the vehicle. So you are being found responsible. Again, this is a civil infraction for a first offense. There's a fine here of $500, and your license to carry concealed is being suspended for 6 months. Now, what I am going to say is that you do have the right to appeal my decision as the magistrate. If you do so within the next 7 days, the case will be reheard by the judge. So,
How do I appeal?
you would have to either consult with an attorney or you can talk to the clerks about getting the paperwork. I cannot give you legal advice. So,
Yeah, because I wasn't, as he stated before, sorry, I wasn't actually engaged in a traffic stop. That was the problem.
And there we have it, a ruling that couldn't be clearer. The magistrate dismissed the window tint citation, but found Smith responsible for failing to disclose his CPL. The consequences? A $500 fine and a 6-month suspension of his concealed carry license. Smith's sovereign citizen-style defenses collapsed under the weight of straightforward law. This case is a textbook example of how pseudo-legal arguments rarely hold up in real courtrooms.